Hello. Welcome back to Grief to Grace. My name is Dale. I am your host. Today I'm interviewing Miss Denidra, and we are talking on the subject of From Caregiver to Griever, her father's final chapter. So I'm going to be asking her a series of questions about how her experience from being her father's caregiver to his final days, what she experienced, what it was like. We're getting all the tea. So, Ms. Denidra, at any time in our interview, if you need to take a moment, please feel free to do that. Okay. And hopefully we make it through this interview without neither one of us crying. So
Yeah.
I want to welcome you to my channel.
Thank you
Finally.
for having me. I appreciate the invite. I've been looking forward to it actually.
Okay. Are you ready to get started?
I am.
Okay. Let's get it done. So first we're going to start with a backstory, the bond. Can you tell me a little about your father and what he was like?
Oh, okay. Paul, as we call him, was amazing. He was funny when he wanted to be. He was serious when he needed to be. He was great. We did all kinds of things together. He was just a happy-go-lucky person. He never met a stranger. um, I mean, there's just so many great things I can say about him, but he was a very humble being, very kind, very loving person.
Okay. So could you tell us what kind of relationship you had with him when you were growing up?
We were very close. Actually, I was a daddy's girl. I have to say, I really was a daddy's girl. He worked away from home. He was a offshore worker. So, in the times when he would be home, then we only got a week with him at the most, in most cases. So, if he was in the kitchen doing something, I was in the kitchen right there with him. If he was in the yard doing something, I was in the yard with him. So
Okay.
it's yeah, we were kind of in tow.
Okay. Well, that's awesome. So I want to ask you this. When did you realize that you would become his full-time caregiver?
So that one was it kind of just happened. He came up for a visit. It was supposed to be just kind of a trial to see how he would do being away because he had been in a facility for years. So he was pretty acclimated to it. And I was kind of worried that, just a sudden change may create some kind of imbalance. But he stayed for a little while and then he just never left. So it became permanent.
So he just came for a visit and ended up there for the rest of his life, basically.
Yes, basically that is it.
Well, at least it was your father and not your sister. Because I imagine no siblings do that too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I ain't
yeah.
calling out no name of no sibling, but I have one that'll do that. She'll come for a
Yeah.
visit and stay for a lifetime if you let her. That's neither here nor
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, but it was wonderful. So it
That's,
worked out. It really did.
that's, that's good. So now we're going to move into the experience
Mhm.
of caregiving. What are some of the day-to-day responsibilities you had as a caregiver to your father?
So, um, Paul had dementia. So with dementia, it kind of takes them back into this stage of like a young child. So the
Hmm.
same things that you would do for a young child who could not do for themselves, it's kind of the same day to day that it was with him. So, you got the cleaning and uh the hygiene part, the waking up for food, and you have activities time, things
Yeah,
like
yeah,
do
yeah.
exercise. So and then you have your your how you say like your time when you share together,
Yeah,
the
together,
bonding time.
the bonding
Right.
time. Right. So, I mean, I know you worked full time, right? At the moment of taking care of your dad. Did that
Yeah.
affect you in any way?
It did, those times when, I had to be away from the house were kind of the toughest. He did have full-time, care that came in during the day hours to assist, with caring for him. But I transitioned to working from home full time, and so of course, um, he wanted to be where I was, and that made it a little bit difficult because I had to tell to him, "Well, I'm at work, so you have to deal with this person while I'm at the work." And then after I get off from work, then you have me, So I kept on with it full time, and we make it work.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Were there moments where you felt overwhelmed or completely alone while taking care of him?
Oh yes, yes, yes. Um, it was almost like postpartum depression, really, because it got hard for me because I think it was mainly seeing him in the way that he was because I wasn't used to that. It
Yeah.
wasn't the part that I knew.
That you grew up with.
You know, he was in a totally different frame of mind. So it was seeing this big strong man that in my childhood people were fearful of because he was this big burly guy, but gentle to be in this, person that's like, okay, now someone's got to care to me
Yeah.
full, you know. So it it was different. And then I had, full-time work. So in the nighttime, it was me caring for him. The caregivers were gone. So anything that he needed in the night, and Paul was never a night sleeper. He was always a night up person. So he
Yeah.
would be up and down, up and down. And you got to mind that he doesn't get out of the house. You got to mind that he doesn't come down and enjoy himself, in the kitchen trying to cook or trying to do the things that in his mind piece he was so used to doing, but he couldn't do it
Do
anymore
it
or
anymore.
wasn't supposed to be doing it anymore. Let me put it that way. So I was getting a lot less sleep, you know, so I would get frustrated a lot, you know. So it became a challenge. I had to really find ways to navigate this, and yeah.
See, I come from a caregiver background, so I understand. Even though I was doing it as a job,
Mhm.
it's like I did that for a job every day.
Right.
So it is overwhelming. You do get tired. You do get what they call caregiver burnout.
Hmm.
Um, so I totally understand.
Yeah.
Totally understand. Because having to get off from work and then having to go home and care for my kids, because I was a full time mother too.
Hmm.
Yeah, I can totally get it. I understand that.
Yeah.
Um, did you ever feel like you lost a part of you while caring for him?
I did actually. Um, Before Pop came along, I was actually living alone. So I had kind of gotten acclimated to my space,
Yes.
And I don't want to sound selfish or anything, but I had never had my space.
Yeah.
So after child growing up and leaving home, and now you finally have your window of opportunity, so to speak,
Yes.
then that kind of being snatched away because now you're going back into the phase almost like you're giving birth to another child and you're starting it
It's just
fresh.
older.
Yes, yes. So it really felt different. Um, it took me a while, honestly. No sugarcoating it. It took me a while to uh get comfortable with the situation of becoming caregiver,
Yeah.
even though that was my dad, and I love him dearly, and I would do it all over again. But at the time, it was it was a lot, it was a lot, because I'm like, oh, I just got my freedom, my time, and all of a sudden now it's like, oh, okay, but that's life, you know.
Yes,
Life
that
will
is.
give you the things that it feels like you need, and you just roll with it, and
Yes.
accommodate and flex accordingly. That's the best way
Okay.
to do
Okay. Well, that's great
it.
advice. What helped you to keep going on the hard days during the caregiver process?
Oh, I had started embarking on a new journey with spiritualism. And man, when I tell to you, I needed that. I been down heavily on that part.
Okay.
I spent more time in meditation. I spent more time just reaching out and trying to connect with spirit and get guidance in all the ways because I did not want to get to the point whereby no, 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 I cannot keep you. You have to go back. No, that was never an option. So I
Okay.
knew I had to figure out a way to make this work, and I did. I was able
That's
to get the
good.
balance, and
Well,
and
that's great.
yeah, so
That's great.
it worked out.
That is great. It worked out.
Yeah, it
Whole
did.
thing worked together for the good.
Yes,
Right.
yes, it did. So
So our next subject, we're going to talk about the final days. If you need a moment, just let me know.
yeah,
Okay. It's all right. And let's go.
all right, let's do it.
So, was there ever a moment towards the end that stands out to you? Maybe something he did or said that let you know you were getting closer to the end?
Yeah, so that was very lively. He wanted to be upstairs. I tried to get him to be downstairs in the main part of the house. He wasn't having it. So his room was upstairs. And when I tell to you, that man crested those stairs, he must have done between 30 and 40,000 steps a day just going up and down those stairs. And that is not an exaggeration. If I had anybody here beside me, no, they can attest to that. And if you see me look to the side, that means he's tapping me on the shoulder to say it is true. But he would do that, and he loved to eat. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
He
yeah.
would eat, 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 and snack, snack, snack. He loved it.
They did. They do. They
Yeah. So when that started to, I noticed he was coming down less. He was spending more time up top, and he was eating less. He didn't really want to snack anymore. He would leave whole meals there, or sometimes not even come down at all. Um, his countenance changed.
yeah.
He was starting to small up a lot, and uh, so I called out, the um, the nurse to come out and visit, and that was the first time that I heard them say, "Well, it's getting to that time." I wasn't trying to hear that. I
Of
didn't
course.
believe that. I'm like, nah, not Paul. He's okay. He'll pop back up in no time and, be jovial again, and that will be it. But yeah, no. So, mm,
How did you prepare yourself spiritually or emotionally for his passing?
I don't think I did. Honestly, I wasn't. I knew it was coming. I did. I mean, let's be real. I knew, but as far as doing any type of preparation, I kind of forced myself to the just the notion that if you take a breath in to live, you're going to leave your breath out and pass. And as the pump has graced us with his presence. He's given me the best gift that I could have, and that is being with him during this time. He could have been anywhere.
Yeah,
He could have been with any of my siblings. He could have been with any of his siblings. He could have still been in the facility that he had been in
yes.
for, I think, 10 years or so. But no, he was here. So I knew that he was in the best place. He was in the place he wanted to be. And I guess, honestly, I didn't even think he was where he wanted to be. I really just thought, I have this privilege of having him here with me. It wasn't until after he passed away and it was at his service that my godfather said to me, he was where he wanted to be.
Yeah.
He wasn't forced to be there. He was where he wanted to be. He wanted you to be the one to care for him. And that that really was, present.
It's all divine timing. Like
Yep.
everything happens. I'm a believer that everything happens in divine time. So
Yes.
you're going to be in the exact place you need to be for that moment to
Hmm.
go through what you need to go through
Yep.
in that
Yep.
moment.
That's it. Yep.
So, let's see. What was the day of his transition like, if you are comfortable with sharing with it? Do you remember what happened that day, how it happened?
Oh, clearly. Very clearly. So the night before is when it really started. He
Mhm.
hadn't come down for a while. I was having to go up and, spend time with him. Uh, the night before, I went up and I noticed that things were very different from the other times. He really wasn't speaking. Um, he was just there, and his breathing was very labored.
Mhm.
Um, so I put him on his breathing machine, his little treatment, and put the little have that. And after the treatment, I kind of put his little oxygen thing on him, and I pulled he had this chair that was next to his bed. So he had a telly because Andrew Patrick had buy him a telly and placed into his room. So he had his telly, and I put on Beverly Hillbillies. That was something that we used to watch together. He loved the Beverly
Oh,
Hillbillies.
old people love the Beverly.
Yes. So I sat in the chair next to him and he wanted to hold my hand. So we hold hand and he kind of dozed in and out. And I just kept watching him and holding his hand and laughing at the telly and things like that. And the position of the chair was a little piece back. So his bed was a little tiny bit elevated, so he couldn't see me
Uh,
in the position I was in. So he woke up and he turned and he craned his neck, and I said, "I'm here, Pop. I'm here." And he was trying to see me, so I pushed the chair up where he could see me, and sat there with him. And I stayed there with him for hours, just sitting there holding his hand and, you know, just loving him, just
yeah,
loving the moment. And I would have stayed there all night, but I knew that that was it. And something was just like, no, just he'll be okay. You just go and leave him. He'll be okay. And yeah, that was that. And the next morning, I just knew. I knew he was gone. I lay in bed and I had the alarm set as normal for his time, when I would get up and go prepare breakfast and then bring him down for breakfast. And the alarm went off and I lay in bed a few more minutes and Andrew Patrick reached and he goes, isn't it time to make Pop's breakfast? I said, not this morning, and he said, what do you mean? I said, well, he won't be needing his breakfast this morning. And so a few minutes later, I get up and prepare myself and I walk up, open his door and I look over at him and I walk over to him and just rub his head. And I said, oh, Pop, I'm going to miss you. And lean over and kiss him. And yeah, then I kind of notified, you know, the household. Went over and told my son, I said, I think Pop is gone. And he took it really hard. And then I came downstairs and I told my husband, that he was gone. And I think honestly he has been more broken up about Pop's passing, as if he was a child of him because they had gotten so close,
Yeah.
you know.
And when you
So,
spend time in their presence and you're around them a lot, because
mhm.
I know when my mom passed away, that was like a shock to my entire family.
Yeah.
Um, and then receiving the phone call when
Mhm.
my dad passed away, and my sister's like, Dad's gone. And I'm like, Going where? She's like,
Mhm.
Gone.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there asking, Gone where? What y'all can't find him? She done lost it? And
Right.
she's like, No, fool, upper room gone. And I'm like, There's no way.
Right.
I was like, That is, God, you better be joking. Because I just was looking at this man on his camera this morning. He was moving.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
And
Uh,
now you telling me he gone?
Yeah.
Like the shock. It's
Yeah.
the overall shock. It's like it's just different. It's a different feeling.
Yep.
So I mean I couldn't imagine being there. Unfortunately I wasn't there for neither one of my parents passing. And just hearing it over
Yeah.
the phone and finding out that way. So my condolences to you because I could only imagine being there and
Yeah.
how that felt.
It was definitely different.
Yes.
Um, yeah, it was the rest of that day, we did reverence, and everything. We sat with him, and told stories about moments we had shared with him, all while waiting for them to come and get him. Those were the things that we did, it was
That
like,
sounds beautiful.
yeah, it really
Sounds
was.
beautiful.
I really have to say it was. It was different. I had never thought that. Oh, well, really, I never even thought about the day of Pop being not here. But
Yeah.
at the same time, when it was like, okay, this is just, my husband's like, this is just a shell. The real Pop is, because he called him Pop. The real Pop is out here just looking at us like, but that's his shell. He covered him up, just nice and everything and just kissed and was, man, it was
That's what
awesome.
I encourage my viewers also. Like, they're still a part of us because
Mhm.
they are us in a sense, So, we're going to talk about now after the loss and reflection. So, how has grief shown up in your life since his passing?
So there are times when I just get overwhelmed with it. Like I I feel like sometimes, things will try to make you feel like you didn't do enough. You get these sidelines, like you could have done this better. You could have done that better. And I'm like, no, really? I couldn't have, because you're not going to drag me down into a depression. No, I couldn't. I did what I did the way that I could do it. I
You
showed
did what
up
you knew
the way
to
that
do
I
in the
could.
moment. Yeah,
Right.
in the moment.
Now, I find myself getting angry sometimes. Like these commercials will come on and they're talking about these medications and this and that. And I'm like, Where was that when
Yeah.
Pop was there? You know, like,
Yeah.
how dare you come up with something now that my
Now
daughter,
that my
you know,
family member
something that could
needed.
have helped him. Why? How
Yeah.
dare you do this? But that's just the human side of me.
Yeah.
That wants there's a word for it. I cannot come up with it right now, but we want to be angry. You know,
Yeah.
we just want to try to bat back what happened, but it's all a part of life. If you sure enough, if you take your first breath, you're gonna take your last.
Yeah.
You know,
Eventually.
yeah.
Okay. What's one lesson your father taught you that you carry with you today?
Oh my gosh, there are tons. There are tons of them. I think one of the things that I hear in my mind piece a lot of times, believe none of what you hear and only half of what you
What you
see.
see?
That has served me very well. Very well. It has served me. Um, Trying to think, there's just, oh my gosh, so many things, so many little sayings that he had. And I really wish that I had written something down for this because that question is really good. I would have loved to have shared a few more of his euphemisms that he had, but that was a big one for me. But
Okay. I think mine was cleanliness is next to God.
oh gosh, he 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 really was good with the things that he would come up
Yeah,
with.
it was well,
Like,
well,
where did but and a lot of the things that he used to say, a lot of those sayings he used to have, I didn't really realize what they meant until later in life, in my spiritual journey. A lot of things started coming to me, and just realizing that it was beyond the surface of the words.
yeah,
There was a lot of deep meaning to it. And when you really break these things down, you realize that, hmm, that was good. That was really, really good.
that's
That's
true.
what that meant. So yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's amazing how sometimes your mind opens up to stuff later, after the
Yeah.
moments, after the sayings. When it's all
Hmm.
said, did you like, I would like to have had to ask them that or ask them this. They
Right.
ask these questions
Hmm.
and now you
Yeah.
have no answers.
Yeah, yeah. And I do. There are some conversations I wish I did have with him. But I think I was thinking that in his frame of mind with the dementia, there's things that he wouldn't know,
Uh-huh.
you know, and I say, if we do that, if I could do it all again, we shouldn't do that because that's a that's like a negative basket to carry, really,
Yeah,
because there's no way to go back.
true.
You should be grateful for what you had and let that be the reason. So I try not to go back there, but there are questions conversations I would have loved to have had with him. But then, same thing with my mother. There are conversations I wish I had had with my mother before she passed away. But those are things that we didn't need to know.
Yep, that's true. When you put
Yeah,
it like that, I never thought of it like that.
yeah.
Never thought of it like that.
Yep. There's just some burdens we didn't need to bear. There are some things they needed to take with them, you know?
Yes.
So we didn't need to know them.
So, in what ways do you honor your father's memories? Is there
Uh,
anything special you do to honor his memory?
well, I spend a lot of time talking with him. I know that much. I do spend a lot of time talking with him and my husband too. In fact, just yesterday evening
Mhm.
during our downtime, he started talking about a dream that he had of Pop. He dreams about him. Pop visits him a lot. He
Yeah.
does. He really does. He visits us Like when there's a sound in the house or we see something or a certain smell, we know Papa's hair, he's coming to say hi and I will sit and sometimes just write or I will sit up top and just talk with him, you know. Sometimes just me being who I am is a big contribution to who my father was because I am a lot like him,
Okay.
you know. So
So, I want to ask you, if I have a viewer right now that is a caregiver, what would you tell them right now in this moment?
so I would say to them, especially if they're caring for a loved one, always think of the great times. Use every moment that you have with them as a moment of reflection, as a moment of celebration, even when it's tough, even when they, especially if you're caring for someone with dementia, Alzheimer's, they have these moments where they're completely not themselves.
Mhm.
You have to remember who your parent is.
Yes, you do.
And when you have those free moments to yourself, take full advantage. Take the soak in the tub of bubbles, even if it's only for 10 minutes before you got to jump back up and start all over again. Take the time to go walk out in nature and take it all in. Take time of reflection,
Yeah.
journal, write down your feelings. If you're having a time when you're frustrated or you're angry, write those things down.
Get
If
it
you've
out
got
the system.
right, if you've got a friend or spouse or a family member who can be a sounding board, someone, not somebody who's I don't even know how to describe some people, but you want it to be somebody who's just to listen to you.
Yeah.
Someone who's not going to judge. They just want to be there as a comfort to you, to hear you out. You
Yes.
know, do those things and then go back to, your loved one. If they're doing something or acting out in a way that you cannot control, more than likely, if you're the caregiver for them, you have a backup system in the
Yeah.
medical field. My father was
Use
on
your
hospice.
resources.
Right.
Always
Use
use the
the
resources.
resource. So my father was on hospice. If I needed help, that was a phone call away. I called the nurse or whatever and say, "Hey, I need someone right now."
Yes.
And so there's means and ways, like you said, your resources are there. Make use of them and
Yeah.
take time for yourself because your loved one is not supposed to be a burden to you. They don't want to be a burden to you. And if I can promise you, they feel that energy. And
They
if
do.
they feel like they are a burden to you, they will leave here quicker than
Yeah.
what they anticipated because they don't want to be that.
That's true.
They really
That's
don't.
definitely true. That is definitely true.
Hmm.
I 100% like, especially like they can feel your energy
Oh, yes.
and that could change and project the rest
Mm,
of their life that they
it-
have left.
Yep.
So I want to take the time to thank you so much, Miss D, for taking time out of your day
Yeah.
to be on the Grief to Grace channel. This interview was amazing. I can't wait to sit in front of my YouTubers and let them be able to watch it and just learn something.
Yes.
And if you are one of my viewers, if you're experiencing anything, please feel free to comment, like, and share this video. Also, I have my Facebook group. Please feel free to join it. It's free. You can ask your questions about caregiving if you have any. I've been a caregiver for, I think I did 10 plus years doing that. before I went into security. Ask your questions. I know a lot. I've experienced a lot, and I am here for you. And I want to thank you for watching. Y'all have a great day and peace. As always, this too shall pass. I'll see you next time, Miss D. Thank you for joining in.
You're
Have a
welcome.
great night.
You too. Bye.
Bye bye.